When I decided to build a basketball court in my backyard, I imagined my biggest challenge would be sinking a decent jump shot or keeping the concrete from cracking in the summer heat. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd end up in a turf war with a power-drunk HOA dictator named Marjorie Henshaw, who turned my private sanctuary into her personal crusade. This wasn't just about a court, it became a battle of wills, a clash of paperwork and principle, and, eventually, a neighborhood revolution. By the time it was over, I turned her game against her, and the echoes of bouncing balls would ring louder than her shrill commands ever could. It all kicked off on a golden Saturday in late June, the kind of day where the sun feels like a warm handshake and the breeze carries the promise of something good. After months of planning, permits, and back-breaking labor, my backyard basketball court was finally done. Full regulation size, a gleaming glass backboard, crisp white lines painted with precision, and a sleek motion-activated scoreboard hooked up to a Bluetooth speaker system that could blast hip-hop or classic rock with equal swagger. This wasn't some rickety hoop nailed to a trite, it was a masterpiece, built on my dime, on my land, with every detail screaming pride. I'd even sunk a small fortune into a chain-link fence with a lockable gate, figuring it'd keep stray dogs and nosy neighbors at bay. How wrong I was. Word spread like wildfire. By noon, a gaggle of neighborhood kids' scrawny legs, sneakers slapping the pavement, showed up at my gate, eyes wide with wonder. "Can we play, mister Dan?" they asked, practically VY bratting with excitement. I laid down the ground rules. No swearing, no littering, everyone gets a shot. They nodded like eager recruits, and soon the court was alive with dribbles, laughter, and the occasional clang of a missed layup. It felt right, kids playing, the sun shining, my coffee still hot in my hand. For a moment, I thought I'd cracked the code to suburban bliss. Then Marjorie Henshaw appeared. If you've ever lived under an HOA, you know the type. The self-appointed guardian of order, armed with a clipboard and a superiority complex. Marjorie had been the HOA president for 7 years, a reign marked by petty tyranny and an uncanny knack for sniffing out joy to squash it. She had a platinum blonde bob that never moved, a wardrobe of pastel cardigans, and a neighborhood harmony plaque on her mailbox that might as well have read "Bow to me." She'd once fined a widow for hanging a bird feeder too close to her window and sent a certified letter to a teenager for skateboarding disruptively on his own driveway. Marjorie didn't just enforce rules, she invented them. I spotted her that afternoon, standing at the edge of my property line, arms crossed, her trademark scowl framed by oversized sunglasses. She didn't knock or call out. Instead, she barged through my unlocked side gate like a general storming a battlefield, her sensible loafers clicking against the pavement. "This is a public nuisance," she bellowed, while VYing a manicured hand at the kids mid-game. "Vacate this communal recreation space immediately." I stepped out, wiping sweat from my forehead, still holding a basketball. "Marjorie," I said, keeping my voice even, "this is my backyard. My court. Private property. The kids have my permission." She sniffed, pulling a folded sheet of paper from her purse like it was a royal decree. According to Article 4, Section 12 of the HOA bylaws, any recreational structure over 500 square feet VY Cybele from a common walkway is subject to communal designation unless expressly approved for private use. Her lips curled into a smug little smirk. "You didn't file for an exemption, Daniel." I blinked, incredulous. "You can't just claim my land because you don't like it. That's not how laws work." "We'll see what the board says," she shot back, turning on her heel and marching off, Leah VYing the kids staring at me like I'd just lost a war. That night, I came home for grabbing pizza to find a laminated sign zip-tied to my gate. HOA Public Recreation Area members only, schedule required. My gate was padlocked with a flimsy brass lock, and a packet of court usage request forms dangled from a clipboard like a taunt. I laughed loud, unrestrained laughter that echoed through the quiet street. The sheer gall of it was almost performance art. Marjorie had gone full colonial governor, annexing my property with nothing but a power trip and a dollar store lock. But here's the thing about people like Marjorie. They thrive on chaos and intimidation, betting you'll back down before you bother to fight. I wasn't about to let her win out with my court, not with my rules. I decided then and there to beat her at her own game. And fate, it turned out, had a wild card up its sleeve. The next morning, an email hit my inbox. Violation notice, unauthorized recreational structure. It accused me of flouting HOA rules, threatened fines, and invited me to a compliance hearing. Attached were grainy photos of my court, clearly snapped from behind my hedge. Marjorie had gone full espionage. But as I scrolled through the CC list, I saw a name that made my pulse quicken. Tom Ridley, the retiring HOA licensing officer. Tom and I went way back, college buddies who'd bonded over cheap beer and pickup games. He was a straight shooter, the kind of guy who'd rather grill burgers than grill neighbors. I called him up. He answered with a guffaw. Dan, let me guess, Marjorie's at it again. She padlocked my court, Tom. Claims it's public property. He groaned so loud I heard his cat meow in protest. She tried that with a guy's koi pond last year, called it a wildlife preserve. Listen, I'm out next week, and we've got no replacement for the licensing gig. No one wants to deal with her. You should apply. Me? I said, half laughing. You've got the chops, admin experience, cool head. Plus, you're stubborn enough to take her on. I'll fast-track it. 2 days later, I was the interim HOA licensing officer. With the title came power, access to every HOA file, zoning map, and bylaw interpretation. Most importantly, I had the final say on what counted as communal. Marjorie had no idea. She just handed me the keys to her undoing. That night, over a glass of bourbon, I dove into the HOA archives. What I found was a goldmine of incompetence. Marjorie's pet clause about recreational spaces. It came from a pre-merger version of the bylaws, voided 3 years ago when our HOA absorbed a neighboring subdivision. She'd trespassed, falsified signage, and overstepped her authority, all illegal under the current charter. I printed it all out, tabbed and highlighted, and topped it with a cease and desist letter for her little stunt. The next morning, I taped it to her precious sign, unlocked my gate, and let the kids back in. We played a full game, music blasting, while Marjorie glared from her porch, her face a mask of impotent fury. She didn't take it lying down. By dawn, my inbox was flooded. 1 email from her, 1 from the HOA's generic account, and a 3rd from HOA legal enforcement, which turned out to be Marjorie using a Gmail alias. She accused me of abusing power and threatened to escalate to the district board. It was nonsense dressed up as legalese, but it confirmed what I suspected. She was rattled. Digging deeper, I uncovered a cesspool of corruption. The HOA hadn't updated its charter post-merger, hadn't filed county compliance papers in 2 years, and was technically operating without legal standing. Marjorie and her lackey, Greg Pinner, the VYC president with a golf cart and a permanent sunburn, had been scheming to reclassify private lots for community projects. My court was on their hit list, labeled Recreation Zone 3, in a draft plan they'd never shared with me. This wasn't about rules, it was a land grab, pure and simple. I called Tom again. She's been planning this for months, I said, staring at the blueprints on my screen. No surprise, he replied. She's sloppy, though. Let her dig her own grave, give her rope, and she'll hang herself. 2 days later, she did. A public property violation notice arrived, claiming I was denying fair access to my court, complete with photos she'd taken through my fence. She'd scheduled a community tribunal to resolve the issue. I countered with an ethics review. requests me first act as licensing officer, citing her misconduct. Then I kept digging. Her records were a mess. Skipped votes, unlogged decisions, and a grant application from last year that listed my yet unbuilt court as a proposed communal facility. She'd planned to steal it before I'd even broken ground. I escalated. I contacted the kids' parents, who signed statements affirming I'd welcomed their children safely. I drafted a press release, Community Transparency Day, with a licensing officer, and sent it to the local paper. Marjorie fired back with a hysterical email, calling it destabilizing, then made her fatal mistake. She called the cops, claiming I was corrupting minors with unregulated sports. Detective Mike Callahan showed up, a grizzled cop who'd seen it all. He re-VYU'd my permits, shot a few hoops, and laughed. "She's got nothing," he said, watching Marjorie stomp off her porch in a huff. "This is your land." The next day, my yard was a war zone of flyers. Recreation zone, 3 C's for summer programming. No vote, no stamp, just Marjorie's signature in Comic Sans. Greg rolled up in his golf cart, mumbling about a board decision. I shut him down with a bylaw quote, and he scurried off, peeling flyers from poles as he went. At the next board meeting, I walked in with a recorder and a stack of EVY Denke. Marjorie's face curdled as I played her own words back to her, outlining her illegal plans. "I'm initiating an audit," I declared. "All programs frozen." She screamed. The other members shrank away. The tide was turning. A county inspector, Harold Vance, arrived days later. He tore through Marjorie's reign like a buzzsaw, finding violations everywhere: unpermitted decks, easement encroachments, a clubhouse on the brink of collapse. I emailed every homeowner a transparency update detailing her abuses. The response was electric. Stories of her pettiness poured in, from fined wind chimes to banned tree houses. At the emergency meeting, I projected all audio, photos, Harold's report. Marjorie's defense was a rambling mess, capped by an accidental admission of falsifying maps. The vote was swift. 89 fan-tram to oust her. Greg quit on the spot. The room erupted in cheers. We rebuilt the HOA from scratch: new bylaws, new leadership, no more power trips. My court became a community hub. Games, MOVYE nights, food trucks. Marjorie moved out quietly, her reign reduced to a blog of delusional rants no one took seriously. I took a permanent seat on the regional oversight board, ensuring no HOA would suffer her kind again. That Saturday, as kids lined up for a shootout and parents grilled burgers, I saw her watching from a for-sale house across the street, her face a ghost behind the curtain. She'd lost, and my court stood tall, a monument to a fight well won. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.